Acts 8:20 through 23. Peter replied, "Your money perish with you for thinking God's gift can be bought." Now this is referring to Simon trying to purchase the Holy Spirit in the previous verse. What it is he saw the, let's see, I believe it's Philip, came to this area. So, yes, it was Philip came to this area preaching, and the Samaritans began to believe and accept the gospel. So Peter and John came to pour out the Spirit upon them. And Simon, who was a sorcerer, had power of sorcery, but he saw once the Holy Spirit came upon them that power of the Holy Spirit was greater than anything he's ever witnessed before. So he's trying to offer money so he can have that power too. Not so he can be devoted to the Lord as the Holy Spirit's given, or not to help him get through life submitted to the Lord as the Holy Spirit's given, but so that he just has that power, so he can draw attention to himself, so maybe he can make money by fame and all this. So his intentions is completely wrong. So he's just wanting to get this, so he's trying to buy it. But we get this, know that many people think they can do something, they can work, they can do enough to earn God's favor. And that's kind of the attitude Simon had here. He was trying to do something to gain the Holy Spirit, when all you have to do is just be submissive to God, because He did all the work. All you have to do is accept Him for who He is. Simon wasn't willing to do that. He knew the Holy Spirit had power, but he wasn't willing to be submissive to the power. He's trying to buy it to control that power. Verse 21, "You can have no part of this, for your heart is not right before God." So his heart was seeking just to have control, and oftentimes, sometimes we tend to look to God as somebody who just answers what we want, right? And He's there, and while He is there for us, we just look at Him as somebody to go to fix our problems, rather than somebody we're devoted to who helps us through them so we can be more serving of Him. Oftentimes it's just like, okay, God, I go to God when I need something. And our relationship with God should be much more than just that. Our lives are to be devoted to Him. We're to be obedient to Him. And yes, in that we go to Him when we struggle because He cares and loves us. But if all we're doing is going to Him when we're in the struggle, then how's He going to build us up in faith to do what He wants us to do? If we're not willing to serve, then we're missing the whole idea of what we're supposed to be doing. Verse 22. "Turn from this great wickedness and pray. Perhaps God will yet forgive your evil thoughts." One of the things he was dealing with is one of the things most people deal with. Pride. He thought that he was better than these people. He thought that he could exalt himself by having this power of the Holy Spirit. And he didn't want to humble himself before God, knowing that, well, I need God. You never see him saying, well, I need this too. I'd like to have this relationship with the Lord. He's just looking at it from the aspect of the power. And most people who don't come to faith and have the wrong intentions, they always have some reason because of that. Whether it's, well, I just don't have time, or they don't want to change the way their lifestyle, or they don't want to. But regardless of what it is, God can deliver them from that evil way of thinking. In a way, kind of he's advising them on what to do, but I think in a way he's kind of saying a prayer without actually starting to pray that Simon would change from the evil thoughts. We all probably most likely know people who aren't fully committed to the Lord, or maybe even those who are rebellion against the Lord. And one of the best things we can do for them, other than, because there comes a point where they don't want to hear it anymore. But the best thing we could always be doing for them is praying for them. And be there to point them in the right direction. And that's what Peter's doing here for Simon. For I can see that there is jealousy and sin in your heart. The jealousy was over that power. But the sin was his intention of what he was going to do when he had it. It wasn't going to glorify God. It was going to glorify Simon. And oftentimes, even when we get called and submitting to God's will, we can get to the place He leads us to, and then we can make it about us. And that's not the attitude we're supposed to have. We're supposed to always give praise to Him through the opportunities He calls us to do, and try to best serve Him. That way it can reach others. He can reach others by us being used. We're just a vessel. Once we think we're beyond being a vessel for service to Him, then we get an attitude of, well, I can do this on my own, and I got the power for this. And it becomes an area that can take us ideas of sin, but it can take us to falling away from God. Because only God should be lifted up on a pedestal like that. We ourselves shouldn't.